All right, boys and germs, today we're talking recovery, and specifically we're talking recovery from sport and weight training and other activities like that. Regardless of your experience in training, you should always implement these protocols anyway to help prevent injury and to keep you basically fit and healthy on your training career or your training journey. Okay, so let's have a quick look at these principles first of all. So there's a couple of main things to look at today. We're going to be looking at sleep, your eating, your hydration, blood, and what I mean by that is your blood flow, and then also manual therapies. So let's take a look at the first one first. Sleep. If you followed my stuff for any length of time, you know how I talk about sleep and rant on about it all the time. I won't go into the ins and outs of how to get better sleep in this video because I've done videos on that before. So check out those other presentations. But the better you sleep, the faster you will recover and the faster you will grow. So if you're looking to make progressions in your strength training, make sure you're prioritizing your sleep. If you're looking to run a faster 100-meter sprint, prioritize your sleep. If you're looking to lose body fat, prioritize your sleep. All right, number one. Then secondly, we have here the way you eat. Making sure you're eating enough calories. Tracking your calories is, in my method, essential to allow you to achieve your fat loss goals or your muscle gaining goals. Trying to eyeball and judge by just general sensation how much food you're eating is the right amount will not get you to your goals, as well as tracking the amount that you're eating. So if you're looking to recover better, being too much in a calorie deficit will not allow that to happen. When you train your muscles and you break them down, they require calories in order to recover, to build back stronger, and also sleep. When you sleep at night, if you haven't eaten enough calories throughout the day, your body will be producing more cortisol, so therefore you will be in a more stressed state and it'll be harder to get into good quality sleep. And again, when we talk about tracking calories and different types of food, that again is in another presentation. So make sure that you're eating enough food when it comes to your recovery. Hydration. Hydration is key. A couple of elements with hydration that will really help you in your recovery process. Making sure there's enough glycogen, sodium, and water in the system. Glycogen is the sugar that comes from food that our muscles store. When we train, exercise, and exert energy, we burn up this glycogen. So in order to be able to train well in your next session, you must replace this glycogen as soon as possible. Sodium, or salt, as it's well known as, is the best way to hydrate the system as quickly as possible. To me, in all fairness, salt is almost like a performance enhancer when it comes to your training. So if you are adding a little bit of salt into your pre-training ritual and a post-training ritual, you will perform better in the gym. You will be able to lift more weights. And if you don't believe me, try it out yourself. And water. Staying hydrated throughout the day. We all know at this stage that the body is pretty much 75% made up of water. And if there's a 10% decrease in your hydration levels, this will affect your sleep, your recovery, and your performance when it comes to exercising. So make sure you stay hydrated. Blood. And this, when I'm talking about blood here, this is not talking about blood testing. This is talking about blood flow through the body. If you want to recover from a hard training session, let's say you've got really bad DOMs in the legs after a big training session, the best thing to do to help with recovery for that would be get the blood flowing through the area. Not to stay stationary, not to kind of reduce your movement, but actually increase it. Now, you wouldn't be doing more heavy lifting, you wouldn't be trying to break the muscle down, you would be stepping away from the eccentric phase of movement and moving more to the contracting phase, which will allow blood to pump into that area, which will bring healing to that area as well and allow the muscle to recover better. Ways of doing this without creating more muscle damage would be go for a long walk, brisk walk, a little bit of a run, maybe even cycle. Sometimes even getting into the gym and let's say we're talking back squats or something like that, just doing high reps with an empty bar just to pump the blood through the muscles again. Of course, we all know what DOMS feels like, the delayed onset of muscle soreness. And maybe you'd start those first couple of reps and the squats don't feel top of the pops, but after 10 or 15 or all of a sudden you're into the rhythm of it, because why? The blood has pumped into the area, the muscle has filled up with fluid again, and now you're moving in a better movement pattern. So getting blood flow into the area that's sore is hugely important. And then we have manual therapies. So this will be going to a chiro, an osteo, a myotherapist, getting work done on your body. If you're into your training and you're lifting weights on a regular basis, my recommendation would be always go for a manual therapy at least once a month. Do not ignore niggles. That's the worst thing that happens. People feel something going on in the shoulder and they just train through it. 3 or 4 weeks down the line, they're in agony. They can't bench press properly anymore. Then they still leave it. They still train through it, and then all of a sudden it turns into a bigger injury, and now they can't bench press at all. So don't ignore niggles. Not everything you can just work through. But if you're staying on top of your manual therapies and your recovery, you should be able to self-diagnose. Okay, what's going on here? What needs to be worked on? And then take the appropriate actions after. At the end of the day, movement is key. So manual therapies are good, but don't rely on them either. If something is sore and something is niggling, get your manual therapy done, but the way you train and the way you're moving around that particular soreness or injury or niggle is going to be hugely important as well. So let's just quickly review everything there in the recovery protocol. Number one for me is always getting good sleep. Make sure you're sleeping well on a regular basis, regardless of your goal. Eat enough food, track your calories, stay hydrated. A little bit of salt in your water before and after training is essential. Blood flow is key for recovery to help remove that DOMS or help you recover from that DOMS even faster, and get manual therapy at least once a month. I hope that presentation has helped you and given you some idea on ways that you can attack your recovery. If there's any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Giddy up!